On Monday, March 4th, 2024, I rode on a charter bus with 20 plus citizens from Henry County, Iowa, and it was courtesy of RWE, and they wanted to show what their windmill farms are like. So we got to see them in person, and that's what this episode's about because I shot a lot of video there. And the place is called Radford's Run Wind Farm. It's in Maroa, Illinois. And like I said, 3.5 hour drive one way. But RWE was a very good host, and their folks were very good hosts and hostesses. And we learned a lot. It opened up a lot of eyes. It opened up a lot of ears. One of the things is it was very windy there that day. So you will see in the hear in the video that the wind was pretty fast, pretty constant, and very, very gusty. And what I want to tell you about that is that I stood there, I couldn't hear, droning sounds from the turbines and that sort of thing. All I heard was just wind on the ground. Don't have any scientific equipment or anything like that. And I'm limited on my equipment that I use to record the podcast. So not the best audio recordings whatsoever, but you're going to hear it's very gusty at points in time. And the people that were there that day also, we didn't hear extra loud sounds coming from the turbines. So take that for whatever you think that's worth. I'm not judging one way or another. I was impressed by their facility. I mean, you cannot not be impressed by the facility. You're going to learn a lot, so watch this. And this episode is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix and clean and customize it. McDonald Boneyard of Keota, Iowa, for all of your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. Hinshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa. You need a trailer? They've got your trailer, and they fix what they sell and don't in their full-time repair shop. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops present Southeast Iowa today. I'm John Bain, author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On. Let's get right to it. Julie and Matthew, thanks so much for the opportunity to have a tour here at tell me the name of this place again.
Radford's Run Wind Farm.
Radford's Run Wind Farm, and we're near Decatur, and the actual town is Moroa. Is it
Maroa?
Maroa. Okay. I want to, when I'm on my feet trying to think of this stuff, I just give up. I just ask the people who know. So, can either one of you want to start first? Matthew, maybe. Yeah. What is the goal today of this tour?
Yeah, today the goal is to have anyone from Henry County that is interested in visiting an operating wind farm to get their own perspective of the wind farm being close to a turbine, in the turbine, asking the operations team construction and operations questions, and hopefully getting their own perspective of all of that.
Very good. And Julie, do you have any other additions to that?
Basically the same. I will say my goal is the feelings aspect of it. I know there's fears and questions about how wind farms operate and what it's like to be in one. So my goal for today is for people to have those fears answered and feel more comfortable around wind turbines and just demystify them.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to show people after this little segment what I've experienced here today. And at the end of that, we're going to check back with you too.
Only thing we were doing today was addressing down towers. So we got C2, no com. Typically I'll have scheduled services up there in addition to any down towers or proactive work that needs to be done. Guys can come in and can write notes, stuff we need, ideas. We got kind of our training status, our availability status. Just kind of a common meeting place where we can keep each other informed, make educated decisions for the day. Over here, we've got the weather up. We've got live radar. We use Weather Century, like Rob was talking about earlier. We use that for our lightning alerts. Safety's huge. Use that to keep guys out of harm's way if there is lightning in the area. And then we've got just the NOAA forecast up there. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of things in here. You guys got any questions based on any of that, or?
On a different turbine, and I can't even think what the manufacturer was. It was not a GE, and it was not a Vestas.
Okay.
It was a different brand. A manual said in a lightning storm, they recommended everybody be away 8 kilometers.
Okay.
Quick math, 3,260 odd feet, kilometer type thing,
Okay.
to be away from that. That's a long ways. Does Vestas have anything of that nature to your knowledge?
I'm not aware of anything like that.
Do you have like the operator's manual or the safety manual for one that could be looked at?
I've never seen that in a Vestas policy. That's the only turbine I've worked on. I haven't seen anything like that. We weren't trained that way by Vestas when I worked for them. Whether that policy's changed now, I've been gone for
And
7 years.
and the manual that I looked at that in, I don't recognize the name of it. I mean,
Sure.
I want to say it was a European manufacturing turbine as well, but I'd like to see the manual and just thumb through it type thing.
Yeah, I'm not aware of a safety policy like that. We don't recognize anything like that. Basically, if there's lightning in the area, at a minimum, the guys, we have them get in the trucks and just go to the end of the lane. All the lanes are different lengths, so that's not even a set distance. Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of a policy like that. So, but I mean, obviously, I wouldn't recommend hanging out under one during a storm. But
I wouldn't recommend being outside anyway during the storm, so.
yeah, there is.
Common sense.
Yeah, there is a grounding system in the tower. There's pucks in the blades that connect to cables that go to brushes, and then it's all grounded. Yeah, it's a pretty well designed system. Like James was stating, these towers get struck on a regular basis. They handle it pretty well, so. What else
Have
you
you
guys got? Oh,
have you
sorry.
ever found any surrounding buildings, private property buildings that have an errant lightning strike that might be attributed to the taller turbines around or anything like that?
Not that's been reported to me. Yeah, I've never had anyone bring that concern to me. So again, I can't speak for all farms, but I haven't seen it.
Are them blades are fiberglass then? So they wouldn't be a good conductor of electricity anyway.
So there's fiberglass, there's carbon fiber, and there's wood. It's got like a balsa wood in them. The carbon fiber, it'll conduct, but the fiberglass not so much.
Yeah.
So
That underground transition cable, I mean, it doesn't go like from the tower right to the substation, does it? I mean, it'll hit 3, 4, 5 turbines before it goes to a
yes.
sub.
Yeah, so our turbine, our wind farm, you'll have 10 to 13 towers on a circuit, and it'll jig-jog from tower to tower, and you may even have a couple junction boxes out there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then does I guess on our, you measured volts, I mean, so then from the last tower to the sub, does that have a higher voltage reading than from the tower 1 to tower 2, say?
I would say so. Yeah, you're definitely gonna have voltage loss over the line. I don't know what that reading is, but I know we have voltage loss on our transmission line as well. So it would make sense for.
My question is it gaining voltage the more turbines are that are behind it, I guess?
Oh,
Because I mean, you got more,
they're all running at the
you have more
same.
generators pushing.
Yeah, but they're all gonna be running at the same voltage rating. It should stay pretty
The
consistent.
whole house is basically 120,
Yeah,
roughly.
yeah.
Your
Yep.
collector line, does that progressively get to be a heavier gauge? Closer to the substation?
I don't
to
know.
cover that amperage, carry that amperage?
I believe ours is all the same gauge throughout. I don't know that for a fact.
Can you explain the collection sub here, and then going the 8 miles to the substation switch off?
So, as far as kind of how it comes into the substation, is that
Like, why was this? Why isn't the project on the main transmission line in the area? How it runs 8 miles?
so? It needs to come into our substation so we can control every aspect of it. We need to be able to control what circuits are live, which need to be shut off. That's why it comes to us first. As you can kind of see, all of our collection lines come in from this end, and it works this way. So you'll have your feeder circuits, you'll have your transformers, which step up the voltage, and then you'll have your high side switches and breakers, and then you'll go to your transmission line right here. And we feed to the Chestnut substation, I think it's about 8 miles away. Yeah, we need to be able to maintain that substation so we can make sure it's in proper working order. Substation gets a annual, like a thorough annual inspection, and then like minor monthly inspections. So I don't do a whole lot in the substation, but if you've got other questions, I can try to answer them or definitely get you answers.
So the whole 140 of them come to here?
Yes, sir.
Come to here, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got a lot of line running underground?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So you'll have 12 circuits feeding into the back end of this substation.
Okay.
Yeah, about 10 to 12 towers per circuit.
Is that your plan in Henry County?
Yeah, same thing. So, how he was explaining, this substation is for like the project. Then 8 miles away, there's an above ground line that we'll see when we walk out. Travels 8 miles to that Chestnut. Is that what it's called? Substation. So, with Henry County, the transmission line's kind of going through the center of the project, a little bit off to the west. So I won't need to go 8 miles away. I'll have a substation built on the line with our collector substation like that, just adjacent to it, right next to it. Here, the line that they chose to upgrade or to connect into was just 8 miles. It's about $1 million per mile for that collection or that transmission line. So if I can save that, I will. So, and then also like the property we're on now, the laydown yard, which is right there by the blade, and then the collector substation. I don't know how it worked in this project, if that was on a lease, but I'm looking at like a purchase option. So I'll purchase the property here from the landowner. Everything else is on a lease.
So this substation it's purchased. This ground is purchased, but everything with the turbines is on its lease.
It's on a lease. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh gosh. So.
The laydown yard where the blades are laid out there now, are those just a spare to have on hand, or is there a tentative build for that?
So those are spares. This one right here, when we replace the two blades, these blades have to be in a matched weight set. It was faster for us to get a complete set.
Than not have one matched up.
Correct. So we will keep this one as a spare and use it in any turbine that it would fit weight wise.
And can you tell us the length of that?
So they're probably about 54 meters. Yeah.
Okay.
How many feet is that?
They did the metric system when I was in school in the 70s, and they said we'd have to use it. I've never had to use it.
I'm stuck using it. Yeah, they made me use it. Yeah, I was an automotive technician prior to working on
It's gotta be about 100 foot long.
How much was it? 52, 54?
yeah.
Just do 54. That would be 177.
177 feet for you metric impaired folks like me. There you go.
Yeah. I was kind of used to the metric system already. I worked on cars prior to working on turbines. And they're all metric as well.
Yeah.
170 foot long?
We have not yet, we're still.
Well, I suppose it gets longer as you get to it.
Are we able to check out that room?
You want to go out in the shop?
Yeah, if that's all right, just to check it out.
Yeah.
Is there anything to see?
I mean, yeah, we can go over stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. Just
Yeah, if you guys want to see our shop area.
This is the motor.
It's here. It's just not where it should be. Yeah. So out here's our shop. We've got some of our consumables right here. Our greases, our filters. You guys can see over here we've got some carts. They're pre-made with a service kit. Our inventory coordinators will put that together. Our crews will grab a kit. Kind of takes all the guesswork out of what you need. Here's what you need for this service. They'll go back their trucks in here. They'll pack up. We've got our tool room just over there. Nothing too exciting, but yeah, try to keep things organized. Set up in there. Kind of back over here, you can see this compressor and these kind of goofy looking stations. That's where we actually charge our nitrogen bottles. The technicians will take up on services to fill those accumulators like I was talking about earlier. That's basically a scuba diving setup right there. We've got a micro bulk nitrogen tank out there and all that stuff on site. Just kind of nice, convenient. So yeah, not a whole lot to go over out here. We've got a containment building right there that's got all of our oils in it. We get our oil in totes. Don't use it real often, just kind of top off as needed. It's pretty rare. We
So
don't
how much
use it.
oil is one gearbox is hold? I hear all kinds of stories.
Oh,
50 gallon to 500 and I don't know what all.
it's probably closer to 50.
Okay.
It's not a ton. And I've seen people talk about, oh, they change it out constantly.
Yeah.
We've flushed one gearbox since I've been here,
Okay.
and that was one of the ones that needed repair. It had some debris in the oil.
Filings in it.
Yeah, so we're gonna flush that and get new stuff in there when we make that repair, just so we aren't doing that repair again.
So that was like once in 7 years.
I mean, these saw the original oil from the factory as far as I know.
Yeah, so that's accurate. We change out filters on a regular basis, and we pull oil samples on a regular basis, and we'll send those off for oil analysis. We don't want to change this stuff out more than we have to. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's not efficient. So it's here if we need it, but yeah, unless the oil analysis comes back bad, it's staying in there.
So it's just kind of your standard 80W90 gear lube.
So the gear oil's 320 weight. It's pretty heavy. It's thick. But then our hydraulic fluid, it's not nearly that thick. And then we've got there is coolant in these as well. You can see the radiators on top. They've got antifreeze in them. We'll use that to cool down our gearboxes and like our converter section. So there's coolant run throughout. But yeah. And then our furthest building, that's actually our dedicated inventory building. It's full of parts. So we're constantly adding to what parts we keep in stock. We're constantly adjusting inventory numbers, basically so we can react as quickly as possible. We are still finding parts in these towers that we don't have. It's rare, but it happens, and we make adjustments accordingly so we can. Our goal is to fix the tower instantly. I mean, as soon as it goes down, we want parts on hand. Guys here, you want that backup online, so that's what we got going on.
Do you do anything with the step-up transformer at the bottom of the tower? Do you do any maintenance or service work on those transformers at all?
So we actually have our transformers up tower. They get an annual maintenance.
But you don't do anything at the lower level, the base transformer?
We do not. So some towers do have a pad mount transformer. We don't have those. We have our transformers up tower, and yeah, it is part of our scheduled maintenance.
Which I understand it's best is it's common for best is to put them up tower versus
So that
maybe not.
that depends on the platform as well.
Okay.
The V82s that a lot of us are familiar with had a pad mount transformer at the base of the tower. These are up tower. GEs, I think it's pretty common to have up tower as well.
We visited a GE recently, and that's where they had pad mounts, so that's what we're referencing. So
If we had pad mounts, we would be responsible for those as well.
Some of the oil in that is alphabet soup, PCBs, and things like that involved in that. What do you do with that?
I'm not familiar with those. We have a dry type transformer in our towers. I know those are oil filled. I don't know what's in them, honestly. As far as like changing that oil out, what would they do with the used oil? Is that what you're asking?
Since it's a hazardous substance, PCBs are pretty messy stuff to have around.
So I do know that under those oil filled transformers, there's a vault, a sealed vault. So if they do leak, it's contained in that vault. Then it's pumped out, and I assume collected like we collect oil here, shipped out. So it should never get outside of either it or the vault under it.
But it's a handling issue and a transporting away from issue type thing. You know what I'm saying? Once you remove it from there, you gotta do something with it. It's not contained when you pump it out of there.
Right.
So
I'm sure we would hire someone to handle that for us.
So Safety Clean handles all of our used oil. Yeah, anything used, at least for this site, Safety Clean picks up. Yeah. Yeah, if we have a spill, it has to be reported. Yeah. And it has to be dealt with accordingly. Yeah. EPA would be involved. We would have to follow their mandates as far as cleanup, and they would have to sign off that it was cleaned up appropriately. It's not like we can just go out there and be like, yeah, it's good to go. It would be mandated. Yeah.
Did we answer the ground clearance question?
No. Was that the tip to?
The ground clearance.
That's in Bobby's office. We haven't made it that far yet.
Okay. All right. Just wondering.
We can go there next if you'd
Yeah.
like. If there's no other questions out here, like I said, it's a shop. I mean, tools. Yeah. Sorry, it's a little cramped, and you guys can rotate through if you want. I've got our SCADA system pulled up here. It's basically a tool we use on a daily basis to see what the park is doing. I can see right now we're running at 15.9 meters per second. We're basically at full capacity. You guys can see individual statuses of the turbines. Green is good. So green, A the turbine's online. This is actually a bar that fills as it's producing. We're basically at full production for all of them. It would show me any any faulted turbines. Those would show up as yellow. From here I can also see I can see like alarm logs. I can see what this tower's been doing, what it's faulted for. If a crew's going out to check something out, they'll use this to see, all right, is this a new fault? Is it brand new? Has it been doing it for a while? Is it coming and going? We can look at individual systems on the tower. Actually, we just had one.
Oh.
Yeah, we just had one fault. Went down for a high temp BCP board. Yeah, if you want to go grab a partner, and take a look at that guy. You want to see the warning log?
Oh, you do your thing.
Doesn't have liquid level low. That's what I was expecting. But yeah, as you can see, here we've got one faulted. So yeah, like I was saying, you can see individual subsystems. We can see what our rotor's doing. You can see rotor RPM. You can see pitch angles. This tower's pitched back to 17 degrees, so you don't want it fully pitched because it's so windy. You want to not catch all that wind, so that's what it's going to use to control its speed.
So maximum RPM of the turbine.
So like rotor RPM,
Yeah.
you're going to see like 12 to 13 RPM. That's
What would tip speed be at?
it's. I honestly don't know. It's up there.
Without doing the math. I mean, I know how to do the math. but
Right. I think it's
I didn't
a
know that.
couple hundred mile per hour, I believe. It's fast. Yeah. I know we had a question about blade tip to ground. 127 feet. So on this platform, you will see variations on that. We've got a 95 meter tower. If you've got a taller or shorter tower, that distance is obviously going to change. If you've got a larger or smaller diameter rotor, it's also going to affect it. But that's what we've got here.
And these are 2-3.
Ours are 2 megawatt machines uprated to 2.2 megawatts. Yeah. And I would assume anything new is probably going to be over 4 megawatt. I mean, is that what you guys are kind of?
Like a 4.5 to 5, if 5s are available.
Yeah. I would be shocked if anything lower than a 4 megawatt was installed in a modern park these days. I mean,
We would have to go off market to try to find those.
yeah. Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions about our SCADA system? Anything you wanted to see? So we'll monitor this here during the day. We do have 24-hour surveillance of the park. That's all done in Austin. So if we're not here watching it, someone else is. If there were a major event in the park, I'm getting phone calls in the middle of the night. Hey, you guys need to come check this out.
When you say Austin,
Austin, Texas, sorry.
That's all right.
Yep. Same thing with our substation. We've got a team that monitors that 24/7. If we were to lose a circuit, something were to happen, we're getting phone calls, we're putting together crews, we're gonna come address it. So, I've also got our circuit map pulled up. It's a much smaller screen. Apologize, but you can see, like I was saying, 10 to 12 towers per circuit. You kind of see how they go. You're gonna have either a junction box or it's gonna fan out from that turbine. I know the question was brought up earlier. If it was a straight run from the turbine back, it's gonna connect to all those towers on that circuit. So
If you cross roads, is it directional board
Yes.
underneath them?
yeah, yep. And we definitely cross roads. So yeah, cross roads.
Because you can't go parallel with them. You're gonna have to go.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
What do
We'll
you
go.
do, drill under them?
It's bored under. Yeah, directional boring.
Do a lot of that there,
And is there signage in the right of ways
Oh,
for
yeah.
it?
So we'll have.
Well, state to state's probably different.
So we've got. It's basically a tall nylon bright red marker on each side of the ditch. Lets people know that there's underground cable there. It makes my job significantly easier when I'm going out to locate. it's a real quick visual. Okay, this is my starting point. I can work from there. But yeah, otherwise, even without those, I'll use Google Earth Pro. We've got all of our maps in here. You can see our access lanes. We've got record tile repair, tile locations. That's all saved. So, yeah.
So hypothetically, if an air care helicopter has to land in the middle of these two right here, how long would it take to shut that down where that air care could land?
I could shut that down in about 10 seconds right here.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew you had the capability, but
yeah, I can pause
is
it.
there a need for that? I mean, does that happen very often?
I've never got that phone call. I know, I'm not saying it's landing, but we do have aerial crop applications that are done with helicopter. They fly right through tight. I mean, if one of my guys got hurt, that tower's already going to be down. Yeah, without talking to a pilot directly, I'm not sure how close they can get with it running.
Right.
But it just hasn't happened. Like you haven't had it been asked yet.
You're basically saying if a farmer were working in his
Yeah,
field,
John Q. Farmer has
a heart attack while
an
he's,
issue
yeah,
up there.
and he happens to be right there, how close can they be, is what you're asking. And I don't know that answer.
Unknown caller.
But you can shut those turbines down, but then they land
Yes.
as close as they feel, I guess.
Yeah.
comfortable to.
It'd be a matter of seconds and I could have that tower shut down.
But the potential financial loss wouldn't overpower
Yeah.
the need to shut that down.
I don't think that would ever be a question. If I can imagine making that decision, saying, "Well, we're going to lose this much money."
That'd be a tough one to make there.
Yeah, I wouldn't think twice about shutting a turbine down in emergency. I mean, I don't think anyone in their right mind would. It'd be sad if someone would choose dollars over life or limb. I mean,
And but it comes down to, so the EMS would be dispatch, so they would call life flight, and then, they could call you, and then that's when they say, like, okay, we're dispatching life flight, so shut down this turbine. That's how that would work, right?
yeah.
So,
Like I said, I've never had that scenario. We actually do have life flight coming to our next training.
oh, cool.
So that'd be a good one for me to bring up. They weren't able to attend last year, but we do work with our local fire departments and EMS. They're involved in our trainings. They want to be involved. We want them involved. It's a good working relationship. If anyone gets hurt in the tower, it's our job to get them down, but we want them right there to grab them as soon as we do. So I'll definitely ask. I'll find out what their opinion is as far as how close they can get with it operating. So
Did your local fire departments have to get, not really have to, but did they choose to get any new equipment for any potential hazards that a wind turbine could put out there?
not that I'm aware of. If there were a turbine fire, it's my understanding you kind of just let it burn. They're going to be doing ground control, basically making sure if it's in a field that it's not spreading through the crops. I don't think there's anything you could do other than just let it
Let it go.
yeah.
That's a concern that a fair number of people are talking about, the fire extension to a bean or a dry cornfield.
Yeah.
The damages would be paid for through the company and everything, but the hassles of going through that rigmarole
Yeah.
and having the fire. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I haven't personally experienced it. Yeah, I can see that as a valid concern. Like I said, the fire department, basically all they can do is control the ground fire. So, I do know our turbines do have smoke detectors top and bottom. If that smoke detector goes off, it does open up our switch gear. You're cutting power to the tower. If it's electricity related, you're minimizing that.
You're isolating it to that.
Yeah. So, I know there are turbines with fire suppression systems in them. These do not have that. Like I said, they've got the smoke detectors, but there are options out there. I don't know what the technology you guys are looking at, if it's available.
I just know the question has come up.
Yeah, it's definitely a valid question. So,
Have you had fires here?
no.
No fires.
We keep our towers pretty clean. We're kind of proud of how clean these towers at this farm are. I can't speak for all of them, but we don't leave a lot of debris or oil laying around for it to spread. If a motor goes out, it shorts, we replace it. Like, it's worst case scenario, it throws a spark to nothing. Like, I just don't see that being a big issue here, even with Vestas towers. So.
Have you guys ever had any, I think earlier you said you've never had anybody cut a line if they're doing a tile repair or anything at this point?
We have not. We have had to shut down lines so they could go under it. But
Is that
yeah.
part of your EMS training then if somebody would cut a line? Because you're 30,000 volts, obviously, so that's a pretty good jolt.
So, yeah, if you were to cut a line, it's going to trip off in the substation. Basically, one of the first things that we're taught is scene assessment, make sure it's safe to approach. Part of that would be making sure the lines are de-energized. So, but yeah, we haven't had that happen here. Like I said, we've got a real good relationship with landowners and guys that are doing tile work. Even if I get a Julie ticket in, typically I'm calling these guys, hey, where exactly are ya? Have you already got flags out there? Yeah, I want to be on that regular basis talking to these guys. I want to know where they're at. I want them to know where my stuff is. I want them to be safe. They don't want to deal with the line. We have to work together, and I feel like we've done that here.
If somebody would have to cut that, if they're in a, are they grounded? If they're in a tractor or if they're in a backhoe or whatever? With the 30,000 volt?
So I haven't heard any training on cutting underground. I know if you get into like an overhead line, your best case scenario is to stay put. That's what I've always been taught. I mean, if farm equipment gets into it, stay put. If you're going to evacuate, you need to jump. You need to jump far. Yeah.
Okay.
So, you saw, I don't know if anyone saw that piece of, that chunk of underground cable went around. Nothing is certain, but there's strands and strands of copper. If you were to hit it with a backhoe, you have to force the ground into that live circuit and you're gonna trip immediately. I mean, it's probably gonna make a good pop. I'm not saying you won't get hurt and you should do it, but the odds of that cable remaining live after you damage it is, I don't want to say impossible, but as close as you can be. Not that we wouldn't check, we'd probably be first one, second one called, but.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. What other questions have we got? I know you guys got questions. You rode several hours to come see us. Nothing?
They want to see the tower, Mike. They're here for the bread and butter. They don't care about your question.
Sorry, 1760, that the closest that the county is proposing that a turbine can be placed from a home.
Just under 40.
Then they're not making noise. So it's kind of like,
I can hear just a little bit of a howl once in a while.
I know I'm listening for, so I can kind of hear it, but I have to try.
Yeah, so this distance is 1.1 times the tip height of what a turbine would be from the public right-of-way, railroad, transmission line within the Henry County ordinance.
Okay. There it is, folks. I told you it was windy on Monday, March 4th, 2024, and you've seen the video and audio to prove it, and you'll see a little bit more. Remember, if you like what I bring to the table, or to your computer, or to your telephone, or your television, remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Okay, we are now inside of the tower of the turbine.
There's computer stuff, relays, timers. Here's our, we have these go from tower to tower. This is how we get information back to the RWE. I don't know if you should record any of this, but whatever. Yeah. Any questions? You get an energizer over full tail on your arm would be yeah, what was your question? You'll turn it on so it spins at full capacity. Alright, good, but I don't know how that would be overrated. Okay. Kind of like the hearing. Yeah. We'll talk to Lego at the end of this and see if he's good with it.
I have a question. So what all can be done from this panel?
Anything you want.
Anything you want. So you can start it, you stop it.
We can pitch it, I can turn it, I can have it go whatever direction the wind, or out of the wind I want, I can break it, we can turn on pumps, motors, we can do anything it requires.
Wow. How high up are we walking on the stairs of from the base? 15 feet, yeah.
I don't actually know the answer to that question.
Okay. Oh, close enough. I mean, I just was curious.
I don't know if you were here for that. This big black cable is all power, all three phases. There's a few for lights, they'll go up the tower, there's sockets and outlets and stuff. And there's some data cables in there too. But it's all fiber optic. That's how it talks to the top and bottom. It's pretty simple compared to some of the GEs. They got big old bus bars that go all the way up there.
And this equipment that is in here, this was installed in 2017, is that correct?
It came online in 2017, but began construction in 2016.
Okay, so you're talking equipment was state of the art in 2016. Okay.
I mean, it's still nice, but usually every 4 years, whatever you built 4 years before, that's a dinosaur now. So
Okay.
these are, I don't even think you can buy these anymore.
Wow.
But
Amazing.
that's just this industry. It's kind of like computers. It's so fast. I mean, this is nothing like what I was trained on when I got in. And I've been doing this for a decade. So.
Yeah. Starts to make a young guy feel old.
My knees tell me I'm old, but
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for showing us this. This is what the blade's running right now, right? And it was very enlightening, I have to say, from someone who's never been to a wind park before, or a windmill farm, or whatever what is the proper terminology to call it?
I like wind farm.
Yeah,
Wind
we
farm?
call it wind farm.
Okay.
I know some of the folks here called it wind park, but we
Yeah.
call it wind farm.
There you go. Well, do you guys think that with the folks that were here today, that you accomplished your goals?
I would say yes. Everyone had good questions to bring to the table, and everyone took the opportunity to go in all the locations in the operations building. We went by the laydown yard and the turbine, and also within the turbine, and they got to ask questions to the tech and got to see how some of the equipment moves and works. So bottom line, I think people got to take their own perspective of a wind farm.
Well, my goal today is I've had basically the Fly on the Wall podcast, where I just shot the video of the meetings at the County Board of Supervisors and at the Wayland Town Hall. And I've interviewed some folks from Henry County that are opposed, and given them an opportunity. And I thought, to be fair, I wanted to come and give you folks an opportunity to show what you do. It's very impressive. It's very impressive.
Thank you for coming out here and videotaping, and it's great to know that folks are seeking answers and learning more.
Well, you're quite welcome, and I hope if you guys do another one of these, the folks that are watching that didn't get a chance to come, take the opportunity. I mean, it's a 3.5-hour bus trip, but it's worth it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
As I said before, lots of information on this episode, impressive information. Hopefully you find the information useful. I recommend that if RWE does another tour, that you get on that bus and you get out there and check things out for yourself. I can only do so much on a podcast. I hope you find it helpful and informative. And this episode was brought to you by Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, Girling Repair, Hinshaw Trailer Sales, McDonald Boneyard, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Stops. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.